Welcome back. We are continuing with our series of driver versus driver. It's a 4-year split, 3 models back. Today we're doing Callaway. Callaway Elite has been a huge hit since it's came out. Fitters are loving it in the field. And like we said in the previous video, we know that you're not buying a driver every year, or at least not most of you. So we've gone all the way back to Rogue ST to see what it is like head to head against the Elite. Both the core model, both the standard settings, and we're going to do the 2 tests that we did before on the previous model view that we did, 115 mile an hour, 000, and then we've got a 100 mile an hour test, 2 degrees up, and we've hit an inch off center, Mark.
Yeah, I started playing around with that, right? So we've been testing like 3/4 inch heel and toe, and you know, these clubs are getting so good, there's really not that much difference. So, you know, I was playing here last week, and I spent like, you know, half a day in here playing around, and I went, you know, full inch, or even a little more, if anything, heel and toe, and down quite a bit, and that was kind of interesting. So you do see more, and there are bigger improvements the further you get away from the middle. So we'll see that later as we get into the 9-point tests and stuff, you know, later in the summer when we start catching up. But it's really interesting. I have no idea what this old one's going to do. No. And I played a lot with the other one, so I kind of have a pretty good idea how that worked.
Okay, so first of all, we've got the Rogue ST snapped in, 10.5 degrees, 115, 000, center strike. Now, the draw bias doesn't surprise me, because Callaway definitely do go down the left more.
And I think that's why I've kind of gravitated over the years to Callaway's, probably more than TaylorMade, although I do like the new TaylorMade, because I do tend to fade it. So definitely a little more draw bias.
Yeah, 2.4 degrees tilt, 2,900, or call it 3,000, being even, 12.8 degrees of launch. Interesting. All right, Glenn, so can we do 1 inch towards the heel on this test, please? That was the heel, obviously.
That's the heel, obviously, yep. Coming back towards the center. Went pretty straight, though.
It did, actually. It didn't have as much gear effect working back, right?
This is where it gets scary, 1 inch in the heel. I mean, that's... Yeah, that's basically on hitting the dot. Right. Yeah, that's where you're hitting it. Right?
And that feeling out of the heel, is that jarring, dead?
Yeah, it's not a good feel either. No.
I actually played the Rogue ST for a while in the
I played the Rogue ST LS as well.
Yeah,
Same thing. I really liked that driver.
Me
it was
too.
one of the first drivers that was kind of an LS, kind of lower spin version that was still pretty big.
Yeah.
You know, then obviously they came out with triple diamond stuff.
Yeah.
And I couldn't play the original ones because they were way too fade biased. The triple diamond max was good. And then the new one this year is really good. It's kind of a cross between the two, but it's not as fade biased.
And then, yeah, the new Elite, we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
But it's
Look at this thing turn.
So we didn't see as much gear effect out the heel, and then we saw a ton of gear effect out the toe and turning over. So Glenn, let's take a quick look at that mini map. Wow, look at that as a reference point. But again, not apples to apples with the TaylorMade test, because we went from 3/4 an inch with the TaylorMade to 1 inch with this, so this should be more dramatic.
And as soon as you get a little bit further out, crazy things start happening. So yeah, I noticed that. So
okay, well,
it's a pretty extreme test here.
Let's see if the Callaway Elite 4th generation, so we went Rogue, then we went Paradigm, then we went Smoke, now we're at Elite.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does.
Changed names and everything.
Okay, the Elite's in the robot for the 115 test, starting in the center. And we're just talking about this off camera, the adjustability in the new one versus the old.
Yeah, you know, the old one obviously didn't have any adjustability right to left. I mean, it's got the weight in the back that you can change, but you didn't have any option there. I mean, my old LS had lead tape all over here. Yeah. I used a lighter weight so I could move the CG. Now you don't have to do that. It's got 3 different settings, so that definitely helps.
So same sleeve. But
yep, same sleeve, adjustability there, but you've definitely got more right to left on the CG location, which changes the draw bias.
Okay, Elite versus Rogue ST. We know the answers on a smaller test. We've got some data in front of us, but we don't know what this is going to do. So let's fire away, Glenn. Draw characteristic stayed.
Yep.
Little more tilt, and I would say that's what I've seen, because I've been fitting with this a little bit lately. I feel like this is
a little more draw bias. Which, yeah, it's good for a lot of people.
Right.
Well, the vast majority, 90% of the people slice it, right? So
yep.
I fade it a little bit, so I'm the same boat.
Similar spin rate, a hair lower launch.
Right.
And carry is like within a yard out of the center.
Yeah.
And we're going to touch on that more.
Right.
Yeah. We're not expecting to see anyone gain 10 yards, and if they do, it's going to be a big jump in tech.
Yeah, that's not happening anymore. Maybe 10 years ago, but not happening now.
Which way did you go, Glenn? Here? heel, okay?
Okay, so this is an inch now, right?
Inch heel. Same story, I guess.
Same thing.
When you get to an inch maybe versus that 3/4 of an inch test, you
Yeah.
kind of start working away from the gear effect. It's helping as much?
That's a good question. I don't really know that, but I wouldn't think so. Obviously, the further you move over here, the more gear effect you get, but the loft changes too, and the direction of the face. So,
okay.
But if you look at it too, I mean, obviously we set this up at 0-0, you know, and everything's a little left, which is what you see from the draw bias thing, which helps people.
Yep.
You know, just because they're all on, or at least they're on the right side. If you had them both sides, that'd be a problem. But
True.
you know, don't worry about the direction so much; it's the size of the circle in that direction. So.
Yep. But we did actually see a little distance gain there, and I believe that the heel in the Rogue was 260, and that was 263 and a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
well,
go.
that's you know, that's the space they got room to improve. That's the
Right.
toughest thing to do.
And that is the story with Callaway. I don't think they're boasting, although they do talk about distance gains. It's like they're really talking about consistency across the face and matching that pattern of swing to the player more.
Right.
You know, making it real.
Yeah.
So
You can still get into the triple diamond stuff and open the face and do plenty to negate that.
yes.
Plus the lie angles on the better player clubs or the tour versions are generally flatter too, which instantly changes.
Yeah.
You know, that makes a big difference as well.
Okay. Let's see the 1 inch across the toe, Glenn. There she goes.
Here it comes.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's turning.
that's actually
Still
gonna hit the
a
line.
touch left of the line or right on
On
it.
the, yeah.
But
very
yeah,
good.
if you think about it, they're all left, right? So that's just a draw bias driver.
Yep. Picked up again toe from the Rogue ST 271.8, 275. So we picked up some yards there too.
Yep.
Okay, Glenn, let's take a look at the mini map for this 115.000 test, and we are looking at. This is a tough one here. Okay, so heel shots pretty much almost identical, but the Elyte was a little longer.
A little longer.
The center shots were both drawing, but the Elyte was no, they were about the same.
About the same.
Same
yeah.
distance-wise. And then the toe shot on this one ended up drawing back to the center. It didn't have as much hook on it. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Okay.
It actually started not as far right.
Yeah.
But certainly it's definitely a tighter grouping right to left on the new one by a fair amount.
Yeah.
Because the heel's the same.
True.
And the toe is almost 8 yards.
More centered.
Yeah, more closer to the center.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did see a little lower launch on the new version versus the old version. The Elyte versus Rogue, the Elyte launched a little lower.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's jump into the 100-mile-an-hour test. The first graph we're going to show up is the same as what we did in the old one, and we're going to look at the numbers, and just the numbers
Right.
alone. We know don't tell the full story, but we'll show them anyway. So we got the launch looking almost, well, over a degree lower in the Elyte versus the Rogue.
Yep.
The RPMs, almost,
About the same.
We call it the same. It is a hair lower.
Yep.
The ball speed was half a mile an hour higher,
Picked up a little bit.
and we kind of saw that translate in
And it's only 100
115.
miles an hour, right? So at the higher speed, we got a little more than that.
Yep. And then we saw the toe distance drop as a decent improvement in the Elyte.
Yep. Definitely getting better. Remember, dude, this is an inch. This is not 3/4 inch like most of the tests we've done. This is the first one we've done showing an inch. So this is going to be more dramatic than most.
Yeah. And then we also saw the heel about the same and the carry about the same. Obviously, we talk about this a little bit with our test parameters. A little bit more launch, a little bit more spin in the 100-mile-an-hour test kind of helps carry a bit.
Right.
So call that whatever you will. We'll call it a wash in the distance. But now the more important stuff here is in this chart.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you look at these numbers, off just the numbers, and most of this is all distance oriented, right? So we're just looking about how much drops off in distance and how much, how much more ball speed we get and whatever. What it doesn't show is right and left.
Yeah.
And, when you look at this, it's definitely different. These are much tighter circles.
And that's the biggest thing for me looking at this is
Right.
how close that grouping is. And I think people just assume, you hit the golf club in the middle, it'll do exactly the same thing. It doesn't.
Well, no, it doesn't. But the new one's certainly a lot tighter circle. If you're in the center, it goes exactly the same spot.
Yeah.
The old one, the circle, for the same number of shots, was almost twice the size, right to left.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big improvement.
And the toe.
The toe is way tighter.
Yeah.
It was spread right and left, and pretty consistently. It wasn't just one outlier. There was a couple, and I did a lot of testing on this. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely wider. And the new one's, really tight circle again.
I mean, there's a sentence coming here right now. If you hit it in the toe and you are playing a Callaway Rogue or potentially older, absolutely you need to go to the Elyte. It's going to change your game.
Yeah, it's definitely tighter left to right. And the heel's about the same. Not a lot of difference there.
Yeah, and let's just explain something else. We also, Tom Mace does an awesome thing on here, and he looks at the the square area in
Right.
yards.
Yep.
And you can see that the Elyte's got a larger square area. It's just because the heel shots haven't really changed from model to model, but the toe and the center have improved, so it's kind of
Right.
stretched the overall ellipse of the Elyte.
Yeah, it's a little
versus-
misleading, actually. Right?
Yeah.
If you look at the circles themselves, right, the individual ones, heel, toe, and center, they're much tighter circles. If you look at the other one, obviously the heel thing is all over the place. So, it's misleading if you look at it that way.
But the stats are there.
Yep.
I mean, this is to help you make better decisions when you're purchasing golf clubs. If you're looking for more consistency and much more accuracy from miss-hit in the toe, Callaway Elyte is an absolute no-brainer. You've also got the adjustability that Mark talked about in the
Right.
back, so you can dial that into your flight even more. We're seeing in the field with the fitters that it's launching a little lower and spinning a little lower. Who knows if that's a good or bad thing? You need to know that for
Yeah,
your
well, you always have
game.
the adjustment too, right? So you
Yeah.
can always change the loft. So
Loft.
that's not the end of it.
But you make sure you dial it in. Go and get fit. If you're looking to buy these products, go and talk to somebody at a Worldwide Golf retail location, get some expert advice, or of course, head to a CoolClubs, go through our tour level fitting, and really get the most out of your game.
Yeah, dialing in the actual settings for this is really big, as I mentioned in the previous one. You get a driver and you dial in the heel, the heel and toe weight to get the direction correct, and you get the loft correct. You have 10 yards you're talking about, just on the settings.
Yeah.
So it's really important to get fitted and get those settings correct.
Yeah, awesome. Let us know in the comments below if you're a Rogue player, are you changing to Elyte? If you're playing older than Rogue, are you changing to Elyte? What did you think about the tests? We live off feedback. We live off you hitting that like button and subscribe button. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Cheers.